Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever found yourself caught in that loop? You know, the one. You think, okay, just a quick check on social media and poof, an hour's gone. Or maybe it's planning to hit the gym. You really want to go, but actually getting out the door feels like, well, like climbing a mountain. If any of that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. And here's the really surprising idea we're digging into today based on our sources. What if it's not really about you failing or lacking willpower? What if it's more like a basic design challenge built into our brains? It's this battle our ancestors, frankly, never had to deal with, but we face it constantly.
It's a real paradox, isn't it? Our sources really point to this. The very chemical system in our brain that helped us survive, really thrive for ages,
Yeah.
is now often the biggest thing getting in the way of what we want to achieve today. It's like this ancient, hardwired code bumping up against, well, everything in the 21st century. And a lot of it comes down to this one chemical messenger, dopamine.
Right. And that's exactly our mission for this deep dive. We want to explore how this Stone Age brain we've all got is working, or maybe not working, in 2025. We're going to look into this conflict, understand where it came from, and most importantly, figure out how knowing this stuff isn't just interesting trivia. It's actually like having a superpower you can use every day. You know, when we say a design challenge in the brain, it sounds, well, maybe a bit dramatic. But the evidence we've looked at really brings it home, especially when you think about those everyday things that pull, almost like a magnet, to check your phone again when you're trying to focus, or just the sheer effort it takes sometimes to sit down and tackle something complex. It really does feel like you're pushing against something inside, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely feels like resistance.
Yeah.
And that's because deep down, our brains are these incredibly efficient survival machines. That's their core programming. They weren't really built for, say, mapping out a 5-year business plan. Not originally. They were optimized for what's happening right now, for immediate rewards. Think about it. Our ancestors, they couldn't really afford to wait for gratification, could they? Their world demanded instant decisions, quick actions that had a direct impact on, well, staying alive and passing on their genes.
Okay, so if we try and genuinely step into their shoes for a second, tens of thousands of years ago,
Yeah.
what were those immediate rewards, the things critical for survival? What would have given them that powerful, yes, do that again feeling?
Well, picture this, right? You've been out foraging, maybe for hours, you're hungry, and then bam, you find a whole bush loaded with ripe berries. That feeling, that burst of pleasure, that's a huge dopamine hit.
Ah, okay.
Or imagine successfully tracking down prey after maybe days of trying, finally getting food back to the group. Or finding a safe place, like a cave, just as a big storm rolls in. Or spotting a predator and getting away. Each time something like that happened, it was an immediate, tangible win for survival. And the brain's dopamine system, it was perfectly wired to make those things feel really good, to reinforce them. Dopamine, in that world, was basically the brain saying, yes, that was important. Do it again. It's the key messenger for reward, for motivation, driving us towards things that help us survive right now.
So our brains literally evolved this built-in system saying, hey,
Yeah.
you just did something vital. Remember how good that felt? Go do it again. Which, it's brilliant, right? A really elegant way to learn and adapt when the world was pretty dangerous. Immediate reward was everything.
Precisely. The brain learned to prioritize and heavily reward actions that paid off immediately. Those are the behaviors that kept the species going. It was, a perfectly tuned system for that world, a world where getting that instant gratification often meant you saw the next sunrise.
Okay, right. Now let's jump forward. Fast forward quite a bit, all the way to 2025. Thankfully, most of us aren't, dodging saber-toothed cats on the way to work. But our brains, fundamentally, they're still running that same old software, aren't they? Still wired to look for those quick hits. Only the rewards now they look very different. And maybe not always so good for us in the long run.
And this is where that paradox just smacks you in the face. It becomes so clear. That little buzz you get from a social media notification, or getting lost scrolling through endless videos,
Yeah.
the little ping of a new email maybe, or even just the intense pleasure from a really sugary or fatty fast food.
Yeah.
These things are incredibly powerful. Sometimes, let's be honest, kind of addictive. And our brains process them using the exact same ancient reward pathways that lit up when our ancestors found those berries or escaped that predator.
That's actually mind-boggling when you stop and think about it. That little red notification dot on your phone, or that perfectly engineered stream of short clips, it's basically hijacking the same system that signaled finding food for survival. But instead of helping us survive, it often just pulls us away from things that might actually matter more for our well-being or, our deeper goals.
Exactly. And this sets up what our sources call a constant paradox.
Mm.
The dopamine system that helped us survive by rewarding vital, immediate tasks. Now, it's often the biggest hurdle when we try to do things that take time. We're trying to, say, build a business or learn a complex new skill or get fit things that require sustained effort, delayed gratification. But our brains are just getting bombarded with these easy opportunities for an instant dopamine hit, pulling us off course.
Okay, so that's why it feels so easy sometimes to just drop the gym routine after a few weeks. Or why that side project you were excited about just sort of fizzles out. Or why we sometimes find ourselves chasing quick fixes instead of sticking with the hard work that leads to real success. The easy path gives that instant buzz, right? While the long path offers, well, mostly just effort for a while. The reward is way off in the distance, and our ancient brain isn't really impressed by that.
That's it, exactly. Our brain's default. It's said to maximize immediate pleasure and minimize immediate discomfort, which worked great when discomfort meant, a real threat, a predator nearby, or serious hunger.
Right.
But now the discomfort might just be the mental strain of concentrating on a boring report or the physical effort of a tough workout. And the brain, still running that old code, it tries to steer us away towards something easier or quicker that offers that little dopamine boost. It's a brilliant system, really,
Yeah.
just designed for a completely different time.
Wow. It's like having this internal GPS that's constantly trying to reroute you to the nearest fast food joint when you've programmed it for a marathon training run. It's working, technically, but its destination settings are all wrong for the journey you actually want to take. Understanding that feels really key.
Mhm.
Okay, so we've kind of mapped out the battlefield, right? Our ancient brain wiring versus our modern goals. But you said something earlier that really stuck with me, understanding this isn't just an excuse. You called it a superpower.
Mm.
So let's get into that. How does just knowing about this internal tug of war actually become a superpower for you listening right now?
All right, this is where it gets really practical and, I think, empowering. Knowing this isn't about letting yourself off the hook, saying, oh, it's just my brain. No. Instead, it gives you power, real power. It lets you spot that impulse, that sudden urge to grab your phone or put off that task or reach for the easy reward and see it for what it is. It's a primal urge. It's a leftover bit of old programming. It's not some deep character flaw or a sign that you lack willpower. And just by recognizing it as that ancient impulse, you create this tiny critical moment, a moment of conscious choice.
Okay, so it's like creating a little bit of space between the feeling, that urge, and your actual response, like pulling back the curtain and seeing the dopamine seeking machine doing its thing and being able to say, okay, I see you there, old brain wiring, but actually I've got a different plan right now.
Precisely that pause. That's where your agency comes in. It lets you consciously choose the path that might feel harder in the moment, but is actually aligned with what you truly want long term. You can acknowledge the urge, yep, there's that pull to scroll, but then intentionally pivot. Redirect your focus towards the goal that brings deeper satisfaction later on. You're not fighting blindly anymore. You're basically navigating with a map of your own internal landscape. This is what psychologists call metacognition, thinking about your thinking. So when you feel that pull towards distraction, that's your superpower activating. You notice it, you identify it, ancient brain wanted a quick hit, and then you can choose differently.
That feels like a really powerful shift in perspective. It's not about like trying to eliminate dopamine. We need it for motivation, for learning.
Absolutely.
But it's about understanding its signals and maybe consciously steering it, outsmarting it a little bit even. So, okay, practically speaking then, what kind of strategies do our sources suggest for actually using the superpower? How do we put this into action?
Yeah, lots of great practical stuff comes up. One really big one is environmental design.
Okay.
Basically, making the thing you want to do super easy and the thing you don't want to do harder. So if you want to read more, put the book right on your pillow. Want to cut down on social media, maybe delete the apps off your phone or at least move them off the home screen. Put your phone in another room when you need to focus. You're just reducing the friction for the good stuff and adding friction for the tempting stuff.
That makes total sense. It's like you're setting up your environment to nudge your future self in the right direction. Make the healthy path smooth and the instant gratification path a bit bumpy.
Exactly. Another really effective one is pre-commitment.
Pre-commitment.
Yeah, it's about making a decision now that locks you into future behavior. It takes willpower out of the equation for when you're feeling weak later. So if you want to exercise, sign up and pay for a class with a friend. Hire a trainer you have to show up for. If you want to write, Schedule specific, non-negotiable time blocks in your calendar, like appointments you can't miss. You're basically locking in your good intentions before your ancient brain gets a chance to whisper sweet nothings about immediate comfort.
I like that. You're kind of removing the choice point, or at least making it way harder to back out, like tricking your future, possibly less motivated self into doing what your current rational self knows is best.
Totally. And one more, which deals directly with the urge itself when it hits. Mindful delaying. Some people call it urge surfing.
Couch surfing.
Yeah. So when that strong pull comes, say, the urge to check email while you're trying to do deep work, you just acknowledge it. Don't fight it. Don't judge it. Just notice it and consciously decide to wait. Just for a few minutes. Tell yourself, okay, I feel the urge. I'll check in 5 minutes.
Hmm.
What often happens is the intensity of that urge actually fades quite a bit during those few minutes. And then you can more easily choose to just get back to what you were doing. You're basically training your brain that you're in charge, not the impulse.
So it's about creating that gap again. Acknowledge, don't react immediately, then choose. It really is about turning this knowledge into deliberate action. And to really bring this home for you, the listener, our sources suggest a kind of practical exercise. It's about really identifying one specific delayed gratification goal that you're working on right now.
Yes, take a second right now, just pause and think. What is that one big thing you're aiming for that takes consistent effort, where the payoff isn't instant? Is it learning a new language, writing that book, finally getting consistent with exercise, maybe mastering a skill for work or building that side business? Just consciously naming it
Yeah.
really helps bring it into focus. This isn't just thinking about it vaguely. It's a tool for applying this stuff.
Yeah, for me right now, it's definitely trying to consistently practice a new language. It is a daily tussle, you know? Choosing flashcards or practice over scrolling through endless dog videos, let's be honest. And knowing now that my brain is just itching for those quick video hits, it helps me approach it differently. Like I've actually done that environmental design thing. The language app is front and center on my phone, and the social media apps, they're buried deep in a folder on like the third screen. Makes me have to really want it to open them.
That's a perfect application. And for me, it's probably my long-term writing projects. The big reward of having a finished book is huge, obviously, but the day-to-day grind, that can be tough. So I use pre-commitment. Those scheduled writing blocks are sacred in my calendar. And I definitely use that urge surfing technique when I feel the pull to just quickly check the news or something. I tell myself, okay, just finish this paragraph for just 20 more minutes and then you can look. And usually, like you said, the urge just passes. And sometimes those 20 minutes turn into an hour. This whole deep dive really is about giving you that different lens, a clearer view of these powerful forces inside your own head. It feels pretty fundamental for navigating, well, modern life with this ancient hardware we've got. So if we kind of connect all these dots, zoom out a bit, what we've really uncovered today is that our brains, they're amazing survival tools, still running on that ancient code, though, built for the immediate dopamine hits of a world long gone. And that creates this constant paradox in our lives today. It makes us super vulnerable to instant gratification, often pulling us away from what we say we value long term.
But, and this is the really exciting part, understanding this, it's not an excuse to give up. It genuinely is a kind of superpower. It gives you the ability to see those impulses, recognize them. Ah, there's my ancient brain wanting a treat. And then consciously choose the path that feels harder now, but leads to where you really want to go. It's about smart action, strategic self-management, not just trying to muscle through with willpower alone. So what does this actually mean for you listening right now? We talked about picking out that one big goal, the one that takes time and effort, learning to code, writing the book, the gym habit, whatever it is. Thinking about that daily struggle through this new lens, how might knowing your brain is wired for ancient survival actually change how you tackle that modern goal? Will you maybe rearrange your workspace? Or pre-commit to something? Try waiting out an urge? Or maybe just acknowledge that pull without automatically giving in?
And this brings up an even bigger question, maybe. If this incredibly powerful survival mechanism, our dopamine system, is now often working against so many of our modern ambitions, what other parts of our lives today are being shaped by these ancient biological blueprints in ways we haven't even really stopped to think about yet? And maybe more immediately, what's one small conscious choice you can make today, right now, to start using your superpower and get your ancient brain working with your modern goals, not against them?
Really powerful stuff to mull over and, more importantly, act on. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive today. Keep exploring those insights, and we will catch you next time.